Jurassic Park come true. What the F?
Is your device really listening to you?
What the F? Does the Illuminati actually exist? What the FAQ?
Tonight, we find out
Who comes up with the names for paint colours?
what even is dry cleaning.
What is the least edible food you can still eat?
Are gas stoves bad for your health?
But first,
Why can't robots check the box that says, I'm not a robot? I mean, robots can do heaps of complex things these days. So what is stopping them from ticking a simple checkbox? Well, the box is a newer version of a system that used to be called CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA, completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. You might remember they used to look like this. But as robots got smarter, CAPTCHAs got harder, and they became completely inaccessible to the vision impaired. And to the rest of us.
Is that even a fucking letter?
By 2014, Google had designed AI software that could pass 99.8% of CAPTCHA tests, while humans were only passing 33% of them.
Maybe it's a magic eye. I think I see a dolphin.
Meanwhile, spammers without supercomputers could still get around CAPTCHAs by paying workers in digital sweatshops to solve them at a rate of 30 US cents per 1,000 CAPTCHAs solved. Now, these services are still online today.
What's their address?
So that's why Google invented the box. They called it reCAPTCHA.
So now I just click the box that says I'm human and that's it?
In this case, yep.
Well, why can't a robot do that?
Well, they can. But the click isn't the test. The test comes before the click, like the way your mouse moves towards that box. Google tracks that kind of thing. A cursor controlled by a bot moves in a suspiciously straight line at a consistent speed, whereas your mouse movements are, well, they're,
Only human?
Exactly. If the site's still unsure, you'll have to click on the squares with fire hydrants or crosswalks or traffic lights. Google hasn't told us how reCAPTCHA works exactly, but experts think this traffic light section might also be a mouse movement test, which is why you passed, even though you missed 2 millimeters of traffic light rim in the second square.
Well, I'm only human.
So true.
So what's stopping spammers from paying sweatshops to beat these new CAPTCHAs?
Nothing. Their workers get paid a whole $1 US to complete 1,000 CAPTCHAs. But there is just one tiny other little thing.
Yeah.
Modern reCAPTCHAs also examine your browsing history.
What?
Your previous internet activity is the clearest giveaway of who is human and what's a bot. Bots, for instance, don't generally Google themselves while perving on pictures of young King Charles and looking into forehead reduction surgery.
I did not give them permission to do that.
You gave Google permission to.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Check the privacy link. It takes you straight to Google's privacy statement, which has this video.
We also collect info as you use our services, like the searches you make, ads you interact with, and visits to websites that use our services.
Google assumes permission to track you all the time. In fact, the latest versions of reCAPTCHA don't even need you to tick a box. They just use your tracking info. And well done. You passed by exhibiting incompetence at every turn. You must be human.
What?
Don't worry, human error looks really good on you, girl. Anyway, thank you for the intel. Later, humans.
What the FAQ?
What is the least edible food you can still eat? Thanks, Jenny. I was never a very adventurous person with food growing up. In fact, this guy here didn't try sushi till he was 24 years old. He was too scared. Now I eat it every day from the petrol station near my house. I'm a foodie. In other words, Jen, you've asked the right guy. If I don't nail this question, I'll eat my hat. The more I thought about it, though, the more I realised there are literally dozens of foods. So I decided to speak to food safety specialist Gary Kennedy. What makes something a difficult food to eat?
Well, it's basically something you're not used to. Things that are texturally different, things that have a disgust response, and things that burn and have a pain response.
So what have I got in front of me here?
Well, this is a product called hardtack. You'd expect these to be crunchy like a cracker, but in fact, this is rock hard, but instantly it's off-putting.
Hardtack was used on sailing ships in the 1800s because it can last centuries without perishing. All right, should I try and bite it?
How good are your teeth?
Oh, I'm getting to the first layer. I hit a wall. The texture, I would describe the texture as...
Like a floor tile.
Yeah, a floor tile or a bathroom tile in my mouth. All right, so what's next?
Well, let's move on to the disgust response. This is a fermented shark, which in layman's terms basically means it's rotting fish flesh.
Hakal is an Icelandic delicacy made from Greenland shark meat, which is poisonous unless fermented for 6 to 8 weeks. It really does smell like vomit. It's like you're walking past a bin with fish scraps in it and also someone spewing into that bin. Okay. Here we go. Fucking hell. All right. I'm gonna do it now. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, fuck me. Oh, it's so much chewier than you want it to be. It's so much chewier. Oh, it's really,
Yep.
a strong chemical sort of taste.
A lot of it's the ammonia taste you're picking up.
God. Oh. Okay. Well, that's done. What's next?
Here we have the Carolina Reaper, the hottest chili naturally occurring on Earth.
The Carolina Reaper clocks in at 1.65 million Scoville heat units. That's 16 times hotter than the bird's eye chili and almost as punitive as police-grade pepper spray. It's not that bad right away, if I'm honest with you.
Tastes a bit like a capsicum at first.
Okay, yeah, it starts to kick in. I can feel it now. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell.
But I can. I am gonna need something, please.
All right, yep.
Holy shit. Why is it in my ears?
Your body's having the full response. Your eyes are watering.
Uh-huh.
Your heart is racing.
Uh-huh. I need to breathe. I feel like I'm going, what's the word? Crazy? The ice cream is helping me. I actually think the worst part now is that I can taste the fish again. Do you think that I can officially say that the least edible food is the Carolina Reaper chili?
No, we haven't started yet. Let's move on to some of the things that we have that are really not foods but are still edible.
As Gary blathered on about edible non-foods, I realised 2 things. 1, that I hated Gary. And 2, this was going to be a very long, hard road if I was going to avoid eating my hat. What are we doing? Let's get it over with.
Let's start with dirt.
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 That's not food.
While it's not typical, some people do actually eat soil.
I looked it up. Apparently, some pregnant women do crave and eat dirt. Damn.
This has been cooked at 200 degrees for 4 hours to kill off any of the microorganisms in it.
That's really dry.
Add some water.
Okay. So bad. It is so bad.
Chalk is just calcium carbonate. It's the same chemical that's in your bones and teeth. So if you eat something like canned salmon, which has the fish bones, effectively you're eating chalk.
Zero stars. I don't like it. All right, now what?
Well, your next dish is a leather belt.
No. I'll eat the hat. I'll eat the hat, okay?
This has been moistened and steamed, so this would be edible.
Well, there you go, Jenny. I can't tell you what the least edible food is, but I strongly recommend you don't eat Carolina Reaper chilies or leather belts or dirt or hats. Bon appetit.
hate you.
What even is dry cleaning? That is a great question, and I really hope we can clear that up, particularly since I wrote it in mustard in my only good shirt. This is Dimitri. He's been dry cleaning for 14 years. I'd like this shirt dry cleaned, please. And also, what is dry cleaning?
Well, look, basically it's like washing you do at home, but with a solvent like the one behind
This
you.
one here?
Yeah, that one there, hydrocarbon.
So, hang on. This is liquid, but
It is a liquid, but it's not water. It's a non-polar solvent, hydrocarbon.
Dimitri explained that water is a polar liquid, which means that its molecules are electrically charged. But the liquids dry cleaners use are non-polar, so they're more effective at cleaning oily or greasy stains that are also non-polar. Wet! If you're using a liquid, aren't the clothes wet?
Yeah, but they're not water wet. There's certain materials that can't go in water, like silk and wool.
Dimitri also noted that water swells fabric fibres, and it's the swelling that causes shrinkage and fading in delicate clothing, which is why dry cleaning avoids those issues. Now, I hate to be that guy, but I can't help notice that this is all called dry cleaning. And yes, I'm not up with your industry jargon, but doesn't dry usually mean not wet?
Yeah, but you need to understand it's not water, it's a solvent, which means it doesn't go down the drain, and theoretically, it's better for the environment.
Finally, Dimitri noted that dry cleaning may involve some steaming to remove any water-soluble stains without subjecting the garments to the rigours of full soaking. I put to you that this should be called wet cleaning.
Are we done?
Well, there you go, Leonie. Dry cleaning is wet cleaning. But apparently it's a special dry kind of wet. Now, if you excuse me, I have to find a different wet cleaner to clean my shirt because I think this one might have had enough of me.
Are gas stoves bad for your health? Well, Theo, let's just fire up the old URL trawler and see if we can find a simple answer to this simple question.
Left's agenda to get rid of natural gas.
12 extra seconds to cook your soup.
Rest my gas cooker from my cold, dead hand.
I have taped myself to the stove and I will stay taped to this stove.
No! Forget the culture war and put climate change aside for a second. This question is about gas stoves' health risks. And yeah, I know it might be hard to believe there are any after literally decades of gas industry propaganda, including this 100% real educational rap.
Cooking with gas, cooking with gas.
We all cook better when we're cooking with gas.
Gas is so hot, it's not on when it's off. It's the only way to cook. That's what we were taught.
Very
Cooking
fun.
with gas.
But no, we're going to focus on your health. Just like one of Australia's biggest natural gas companies, Jemena, did when they ran a guided meditation session for Women's Health Week to help us understand
the science behind the benefits of the natural gas flame and why relaxing with a flame can really help take the stress away.
You might be wondering what that science she's referring to is. Well, Jemena's press release cited only one study, and that study involved people watching a fire simulation on a computer screen. So, not a real flame, and definitely no natural gas. So much for the benefits. So soothing. But what about the supposed risks?
They're dangerous as hell for humans, emitting carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide and nitrogen dioxide, air pollutants linked to diabetes, reproductive issues and cancer.
Those are some pretty big claims. So I got some help in. This is Gideon Mayerovitz-Katz, an epidemiologist and public health writer. What does the evidence say about gas stoves giving you cancer?
There just isn't that much. Most of the evidence that looks at gas stoves and cancer actually looks at whether gas stoves are reducing the risk of cancers because they're comparing gas stoves to wood stoves, and wood stoves definitely do cause health issues.
So cancer's pretty complicated. What about diabetes?
The pollutants that gas stoves create have been linked to an increased risk of diabetes, particularly nitrous oxides. Just hard to be certain whether nitrous oxides are causing an increased risk of diabetes or whether other factors that relate to nitrous oxide pollution in society are the things that are causing the increased risk.
Natural gas is fine. Natural gas is clean. Safe cooking makes sense. We're not trying to be mean.
What about the cooking with gas wrap? Is that bad for you?
It is the worst thing that I've ever seen.
And what about reproductive issues? Are there any of those connected to gas stoves?
So there have been some reproductive issues such as miscarriages, birth defects and low semen production that have been associated with natural gas extraction.
Like living near fracking sites or gas wells, not actually just cooking with gas.
Exactly. There is some recent research looking at cooking with gas and birth defects specifically from China. And in those studies, there didn't seem to be much of an association or any association between gas stoves and birth defects. But there's not a lot of research on the other issues.
Is there any science behind what taping yourself to a gas stove does to your balls?
Burns are a huge problem for male fertility.
Okay, that's good to know, guys. Did you actually look that up?
I looked that up.
Now, this doesn't mean there are no health risks associated with
Cooking with gas. Cooking with gas.
because there was a fairly alarming claim made recently about a link to asthma.
A child living with gas cooking in the home faces a comparable risk of asthma to a child living with household cigarette smoke.
So if we took all those gas stoves out of the equation, would a whole bunch of kids not end up with asthma?
12.7% of childhood asthma is associated with gas stoves. But when we say associated, we don't necessarily mean that gas stoves are causing all of those cases of asthma. If you removed all of the gas stoves tomorrow, you would probably see some children who didn't have asthma anymore. But there are lots of other causes of asthma that we wouldn't be addressing, and those would still impact children. And so the precise number, rather than being this headline 12.7%, is probably quite a bit smaller. Also, smoking confers a great number of risks, not just to asthma as part of secondhand smoke. And so, in general, smoking is a much bigger health risk, particularly for children.
So do you think this is a case of the nuances of a study sort of being butchered when it gets sucked into the broader debate, especially around climate?
Absolutely. I think that there is a vague risk to children's health that are then being conflated with the climate change risk. And, of course, climate change in general is a big risk to human health, and using gas stoves contributes to that. So that is a very valid reason to object to gas stoves in households. But I think that there's a big difference between saying, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't use gas stoves quite so much because they contribute to climate change, and cooking chicken nuggets for your children tonight will harm their health.
At least some in the gas industry have known about its potential air pollution problems for more than 50 years. The American Gas Association even acknowledged the need to address pollutants in household air in a draft report way back in 1972. But somehow, that section never made it into their final report, or the wrap.
Gas.
It's cooler.
We're cooking with gas.
It's precise.
We're cooking with gas.
It's cleaner.
We're cooking with gas. It's cheaper.
Confirm, Gideon. Gas stoves are probably not a killer in the kitchen, but they're not great either.
Pretty much. I mean, one of the most reassuring things that the evidence shows is that if you improve ventilation in kitchens, so opening a door, a window, having a ceiling fan even, you can almost entirely mitigate the increased levels of pollutants caused by gas stoves. And there are several randomized controlled trials that have shown just that.
So, Theo, you probably don't need to panic about using a gas stove. Just make sure you've got a well-ventilated kitchen. And if you'd prefer that message delivered in an 80s-style educational wrap, well, I know just the guy.
I'm Garrett Andre, an original rapping chef, and I'm still cooking. Hit it! Like this gas stove, my rhymes are lit.
He's cooking with gas, we're dropping the hits. Cause every single time I get to cooking on my gas stove, righty say, oh yeah, lefties go, uh-oh. So gas me up, I'll fact bless you up.
The health impacts won't mess you up.
The info you've heard is misconstrued, because media reports ain't
peer reviewed. Think window,
fans, and a good range hood.
Don't fuel chef rule and tape your manhood.
Cause that's a knob, and that's a burner.
That's a knob.
Dude, that'll burn ya.
Don't forget your other options.
Switch to electric for that sweet induction.
Does induction cook as well and make my food taste great? Like my gas stove's done since 1988.
It does, my man.
Of that we can assure you.
I'll kill the flame and grow my mullet back too.
Methane gas bad, makes the planet burn. Your stove is not a killer, that's a lesson learned. Word.
What's the FAQ?
Who comes up with the names for paint colours? Asks a vet. And why are the names so weird? An even better question, because even if all you're looking for is some grey paint, what you'll find is Status Cloud or Otto's Boy or even Invisible. Invisible? You thought 50 Shades of Grey was about punishment. Try 257. It's enough to have you reaching for the grey goose. I don't mean the paint. So, who's responsible for this?
Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm the Colour and Communications Manager at Dulux Group.
So, Andrea, why all the weird paint names?
So obviously we've been naming colours for a very long time. So, you know, a lot of the stock standard names have already gone. So we really have to be quite adventurous with our colour naming now. Even though they still need to reflect the colour, we can have a bit of fun with it.
Surely not all the paint names have been taken.
Okay. What would you call this colour?
Dandelion yellow.
How about this white? What would you think that this white is?
Crisp white.
And how about this one?
Pink petal?
This one?
Sky blue. Actually, no. Sky babe. No, that's stupid. What was I thinking? Why would there be a paint called Sky babe? Huh. What is wrong with you people?
Lampoon.
Wait, that...
French kiss.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Andrea says that the major paint companies have a handshake agreement, that if any of them have used a name once, none of them will ever use that name again. So, Andrea, there's so many paint names. How do you stay across them all so you don't double up?
Well, we have over 100,000 on our database as we speak, and basically none of those can be recycled.
Yeah, because you've already used that name.
Correct. We have indeed.
So I guess that's how you end up with a name like Baby Motive? You have a paint called Baby Motive?
Listen, kid, we know you did it. We know when you did it. We've even got the murder weapon. The only thing we don't know is why.
What has that got to do with light blue?
Well, baby motive could be the motive of a baby to actually want the parent to come into the room by crying.
I think I prefer my version. So, Andrea, what are the hardest colours to name?
That would definitely be our whites and our beiges, because we just have so many. So we have our beige calm, beige interest, beige intent, beige royale.
Beige kind.
Beige filter.
Beige delight.
Beige mystery.
Sure, so is your team
Antiquity.
Vintage beige.
Tapestry beige.
Majestic beige.
Beige artifacts.
Okay, so, anyway.
Soft beige.
Rose beige.
Breaker beige.
Master weave beige.
Phantom beige.
Master beige.
Blissful beige.
Burlap beige.
Boss beige.
Charter beige.
Baltic beige.
Beige chiffon.
Beige vibrato.
Complex beige.
Okay! We get it. You have a lot of beiges. It's your specialty.
That's beige.
Andrea, how does your team come up with these paint names?
Look at many different inspirations, like maybe a world atlas. Street directories used to be fantastic years ago. And obviously cookbooks are a really great inspiration as well.
I'm seeing that. I mean, corn kernels, steamed mushroom, mango squash. I think I've used all of these ingredients to make a hot curry. You know what, Andrea? I think that'll do. I'm feeling kind of peckish. So, there you have it, Yvette. Hope this answers your question. Next time you're on a paint adventure, spare a thought for Andrea, who probably made up all those mystery, abstract paint names that are off the beaten track, but still have an emotive ring to them.
She's gone bananas.
Oh, that's a good paint name. God damn it!
Why does toothpaste make orange juice taste so bad? Mish, it's because of a substance in toothpaste called sodium lauryl sulfate. But it also has the side effect of blocking your taste receptors that sense sweetness, as well as breaking down substances called phospholipids that reduce your ability to taste bitterness. Less sweetness and more bitterness makes this It tastes like the worst OJ since Simpson. You can get toothpaste without SLS, but for what it's worth, it's not a great idea drinking OJ within 60 minutes of brushing your teeth. Brushing temporarily weakens tooth enamel, leaving them vulnerable to the acid in orange juice. So Mish, this is why combining OJ and toothbrushing can lead to bitterness, pain and fillings. So just don't do it.
You might remember earlier we were talking about the health risks of gas stoves.
Like this gas stove, my rhymes are lit. He's cooking with gas, we're dropping the hits.
The thing is, while the health risks are complicated, what is absolutely clear is that methane, which gas stoves use, is terrible for the climate. But lots of Australians still use and love gas stoves, partly because they think
We all cook better when we're cooking with gas.
And there was a time when that was actually true. Those old electric coil cooktops were no match for a flame burner. But electric stoves have come a long way in recent decades, especially those that use modern induction technology. But don't take it from me. Take it from the pros. We surveyed 12 randomly chosen chefs, and half of them already use induction cooktops in their commercial kitchens.
Plus, YouTube is filled with videos showing it takes half the time to boil a litre of water on a modern induction cooktop than a gas stove.
Now, there are still a few cooking methods like stir fry or charring that the chefs say a flame is best for. And obviously, these things come down to personal preference. But this part of the gas wrap,
We all cook better when we're cooking with gas.
probably needs an update. Cooking with gas.
What the FAQ?